So main question for you, Drew, is should the Heat consider moving away from Jimmy Butler this season? 35 years old, could become a free agent this summer if he opts out of his $52 million player option, making him a prime trade candidate for the Heat. I think that the Warriors, potentially, depending on how their season's going, could be a big front runner for them. I also have another team that could consider, but I don't like giving up young pieces for a guy that may or may not help your playoff chances, especially since he's some of his true shooting percentage numbers and his points per game, and everything's just kind of down for Jimmy this year. Um, he's not looking like I've been calling him Jimmy Bricks to you. So should they move away from him, even consider moving away from him this season before he makes that decision on his player option?
Yeah, they're 28th in field goal percentage. They're 22nd in points scored. This is not a good offense down there.
Mhm.
Jimmy, it's been really good for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay. It's okay that it's coming to an end. It seems like
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what the last phase of his career looks like and how much he helps a team if he's not making shots. Uh, and I just don't know at this point what you give up for Jimmy Butler, what you feel comfortable moving for Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
I mean, do you move off a Kaminga for Jimmy Butler? What kind of role does he play for you? I'm like what fit Jimmy Butler has on a team in the league that's wanting to take the next step and get to a championship level. I just don't see what that team is or who that team
A
is.
lot
I'm
of
sure
takers. Yeah.
somebody, if he becomes available, will trade for him. I think the Miami Heat probably should move off of him.
Yeah.
Do you want to do you like if I were the Miami Heat, I'd say, do you want him to opt into that $52 million option? And if you don't,
No.
then why give him the option? But with the fact that he has the player option, you're not going to get much back for him in return anyway. And that roster, Bam, Tyler Hero, it's not, you know, is this are they going into a full rebuild? Are they going to blow it up and start over? It just, I kind of wonder where they're at. Technically, they're in the play in right now. So
Yeah, so looking at their roster right now, Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Jovic, and then Bam. Obviously, the young pieces that they have around there. Obviously, Tyler's still generally pretty young. Jaime Jaquez is second year player, and then they have their rookie Khalil Ware, who I was pretty high on coming out of college. He's a center. So the young pieces are there, but then you have aging vet guys there. Like obviously Jimmy is there, Alec Burks is there. I know Duncan Robinson is still under contract, I think, for a couple more seasons, right? So I don't know if this is a full rebuild. I don't know if there's a guy that you really have there that you want to fully build around. I mean, obviously Bam. Bam is a star in this league. He's still only like 27 years old, so he's still pretty young. You can build around him if you want, but you still need budding superstars to help with that. I just don't know if it's on the roster right now, an up and coming guy to really step up. Tyler Hero's having a good year so far. He's leading their roster in points per game, and he's having almost same amount of rebounds per game as Jimmy is, and he is an assist less per game than Jimmy. But what Jimmy brings better than Tyler does is the defensive stuff. Tyler's, I think, only has like point 0.3, point 0.4 steals per game, while Jimmy is up in like the 1.7. So I don't know what you give up for him, because the whispers that I hear is one is the Warriors team is as a potential thing. But again, like I said in the last segment for the Warriors, Jonathan Kaminga is going to be inside that trade package, almost guaranteed. I don't know if you can make a trade package without giving that guy up. How much you value him because there's fluctuation in play from last year to this year to game. It depends on the Warriors front office and how much they really value him. And then the other team I hear whispers about is very, very recent is the Rockets are apparently whispers to potentially go out and get him. And I don't really know if I like that because they have a lot of young stars out there. And I wouldn't really want to give up a whole lot to go get a guy like Jimmy because I'm not all there with it. I don't know what you're giving up, but all the young stars they have out in Houston, I'm not touching any of them to give up for Jimmy.
I think my headphones died. Did you say Stars in Houston?
Young, yes,
Super team just young?
they're getting there.
Okay. I actually kinda like that,
Mhm,
Jimmy to the Rockets. I mean, you bring a player in that's only gonna be here for 3 quarters of the season, half the season,
right.
and you kinda show these young players what's up, like, what the expectations are. Um, I'm not gonna answer your phone call, spam risk, the election's over, don't bother me anymore. Um, I'm not 100% sure if he fits in the upper regions of contending team. I know the Warriors have been mentioned, but I just again with the way Buddy's playing, although I fully expect Buddy to crash down back to earth, I think the Rockets thing makes a little bit of sense. Uh, there's a lot of wild rumors out there right now, and so it's kind of hard to get a gauge on it. I mean, the Knicks are going to move Carl Anthony Towns, even though they just traded for him in an effort to get Giannis.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like it's just it's there's a lot going on right now, and again, I just feel like we're in a season that is so young.
there.
It is hard to kind of focus on like it would almost be better to just do breakdowns of individual teams at this point instead of the rumors that have hit because there's so much just it's a lot of fluff, even just kind of I see the Mark Stein report about Jimmy Butler to the Rockets. That's super interesting. Sam Amex on him to the Warriors. And then just Googling that, I stumble on um Brandon Ingram to the Miami Heat. So
Yeah.
so does Butler go back to the Pelicans in that move? You know what I mean? Like it's a very this is the great thing about the NBA because we could spend about a 6-hour show talking about all the rumors and then none of it happens, but it fills up content. So
Looking at the Houston rumors, if you look at the young people on their roster spots right now,
stars.
Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepard, Cam Whitmore, Amin Thompson, and Tari Eason are their young guys that Jabari's a starter, but then you have 4 out of your 5 backup guys sitting here. Who do you take off limits immediately, and who are you willing to really give up right there? I think you take Reed, being a rookie. I think you take him off. I think you take him off immediately. I think you take Jabari off, and I don't think you touch him in Thompson at all.
Amen has been him and Tari are just like uh, listen, I like the idea of Jimmy Butler on the Rockets, but I would not want to be in charge of the person who has to make the decision on what one of your young pieces. I think there's probably a lot of discussions, not to hijack to this to a completely different team also, but I bet there's a lot of discussions in Orlando right now about making a huge move to bring in a superstar.
Yeah.
And I would not want to be the person in Orlando's front office who's deciding which one of their young star players that they're looking to move.
Mm.
It's the same thing here with the Rockets. Like a couple of these guys are going to take off and some of them aren't. And you have to decide which one of those players that you're going to part with. And I, I don't think it's any of those guys you mentioned, but also you can't trade away scraps for a player that I know everybody always thinks their players on their team are great.
Right,
You could
right.
get, you could go trade for Michael Jordan in his prime for, you know, Quincy Acey and Jeter, but it doesn't work that way. So I don't know. The I got this tweet here with the early season efficiency and the Rockets are killing it. So I don't know. I don't know who I would make that trade for.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So, eh, point is, ending conclusion, we both agree if you're the Miami Heat, you definitely want to move off of Jimmy, but you don't know who's going to be a taker in that. And then if you are a taker, what are you really giving up for a guy like Jimmy Butler? Again, 35, 1 year left on the deal with a player option, $52 million play option. So I don't know who's giving that one up.